Welcome to Card Knock Life Plays. I've got a good one for you today. After the banning, I have been testing plenty of J stacks, and I kept running into Bloodbraid Elf decks that made me start to think, maybe I'm testing the wrong unbanned card. And so I'm finding that Bloodbraid Elf is just is a complete powerhouse, particularly against all of the control decks that are being attempted in the format right now. And so I came across this list in the data dump on 220 that was played by Beatrix 2688, and I've tweaked it quite a bit from this list that you see here. There have been a few that have been posted since, one of them splashing black for Lingering Souls, another one going all the way to blue for Coral Helm for the Knight of the Reliquary combo. This is basically kind of like a mid-range zoo deck. Not like a super fast zoo deck. It does play 4 Nacatls, but it doesn't play like the Pride Line or the Loam Lions or whatever those are called. This one has the kind of like green-white value town plan in it with Knight of the Reliquary, Courser, Tireless Tracker, and even Renegade Rallier as kind of like a long game option for you if you're not going to kill them in the early turns, which typically you do because it's incredibly aggressive. And with that comes a land package that the Knight of the Reliquary can tutor out. We've got Ghost Quarters and Tectonic Edge. There's a lot of greedy mana bases out there right now that we can take advantage of. We can draw cards off of a Horizon Canopy, and then I really like Stirring Wildwood. This is one of the changes I made instead of a Treetop Village in Beatrix's deck. Stirring Wildwood blocks flyers, right? It's that simple. And the big flyers that are played in Modern, Vendilion Clique, Mantis Rider, Lingering Souls, all are outclassed by Stirring Wildwood, so I like this card a lot. Now, I do miss the Trample. It seems like the Trample on Treetop Village was really relevant because there are a lot of creatures that don't have Trample or similar evasion in this deck, and so getting through is a big problem in some stalemate situations. For that, I've tried one of Ajani Caller of the Pride, I believe it's called. Let's see. In the main deck. And what Ajani allows us to do is it allows a creature to get double strike and flying until end of turn. Typically, that creature is a giant Knight of the Reliquary who's going to jump over top and kill them in one strike. Worst case scenario, you start to put the +1/+1 counters on your Birds of Paradise, and you beat in that way. Aside from that, I really do like Bloodbraid Elf. It's a fantastic card, and I've just loaded up with as many good 3-drop hits as I can, and that's evident in the Tireless Tracker, Courser of Kruphix plan. But also Domri Rade is another option for a Planeswalker that can be got off of Bloodbraid Elf. Turns Bloodbraid into a major value engine, or gives you some removal options. I've also tried one of Ghor-Clan Rampager for similar reasons to the lack of trample in the deck. This is a good way to just blow out those stalemate situations, especially when you're playing the mirror match, which you'll probably be seeing quite a bit with this deck, as a lot of people are testing Bloodbraid Elf. There's a 1-of spell, Selfless Spirit in the main deck, which allows you to overcommit, which oftentimes you have to do with this deck. You've got to load up the board with creatures. And there are plenty of Supreme Verdicts floating around, as well as Wrath of Gods. In the sideboard, I've changed this drastically from Beatrix's list. I really like this Gaddock Teeg. I think that was in his list. This prevents a lot of the Wrath spells that I previously mentioned, but also things like Gifts Ungiven and Past in Flames, and slows down a lot of those decks. I've seen it against like really random non-creature spells that I certainly wasn't expecting it to be so live against, but when I come to think of it, it's like, yeah, wow, that is the ideal trump card in that situation. Throne is just the ideal trump card against control, and absolutely love this creature. Settled the Wreckage is floating around, so that's something to watch out for with Throne, but for the most part, he's kind of a brick that can't be dealt with very well. I do love Ancient Grudge. Not much explaining needed there. I've cut down on the Fiery Justice totals here. Fiery Justice can kill Planeswalkers as well as creatures, which is kind of the relevant part of it. But for the most part, this can take care of like sweeping up all the tiny chump blockers that might be in your way. As well as 5 damage is enough to kill a Tarmogoyf when you need to do so. Thalia has really shined in this match, in this deck, especially in matchups like Storm and things like that want to be doing a lot of cantripping to find their big removal spells. It can super slow them down. I really like that a lot. And I've put in an Aven Mindcensor to further take advantage of those greedy mana bases. It's kind of an odd inclusion here, but when you board it in, you want to see it against those decks that are like fetching a lot and things like that. But especially against decks like Storm, who want to be tutoring for important parts of their combos. Also, like Amulet Bloom, for example. And so I'm never too disappointed to get it off of a Bloodbraid Elf. In fact, I'm usually pretty happy to get it off of Bloodbraid Elf in those cases. The other Thalia, new Thalia, Heretic Cathar, is great as well. Slows down your opponent, taps down their blockers. It's a total win in the cases where you bring it in. It's very, very good. And so other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory. Another Ghost Quarter for more of the Tron matchups and things like that. And Grim Lavamancer has really been an all-star in this deck as well. So I'm looking forward to playing some games with this. So far, so good. I've played about 6 matches in queues, and I've won 5 out of 6. So I'm sure that as soon as I start to record this, I'm going to start to tank and lose all of them. But we'll give it a shot anyway. I'm willing to risk my streak for you guys so you can watch this deck played out. It is a blast to play. It is all that I hope for and more. Before we go, though, before I pass on to the next video, I want to just mention we do have our Mana Trader sponsorship up and running, and so if you're interested in testing this deck out or other similar decks, please try manatraders.com. It is a subscription rental service that will allow you to rent virtually any deck in Modern in its entirety and return it when you're done with it to rent another deck. So we have a promo code that will get you 14% off your first 4 months. That promo code is CardKnockLife, one word. Will get you 14% off your first 4 months. So give it a shot. Manatraders.com. I'm really a big fan of the site. All right, thanks. We'll get into some games here in a moment.